What's going on, Zamunda? Once again, we are back with another episode of Silverback Syndicate. Today, we're going to do a little different. We're going to have a group setting, a little panel, might you say. Today, I have Kendra from Avernum. I hope I said that correctly. And then I got my man Mike from Kinetics, Offshore Kinetics, based here in South Florida, but pretty much global. So today, we're just going to basically cover a few topics that have been sent in via Instagram. I made a post not too long ago just requesting some topics that some of you guys may want to indulge in when it comes to information. So I'm opening the panel up. Please say chiller.
Hey, what's going on? It's Mike, Offshore Kinetics. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, it's Kendra with Avernum.
All right. Avernum. See, I knew I said it right. All right. So first topic at hand is conflict resolution. Any suggestions? Because my style is a little different, which has gotten me in a lot of trouble over the years, but you know.
De-escalation all day. De-escalation.
You're making a face. What's that face for?
Because, I mean, that's situational. So, like, yeah, de-escalation, verbal judo, but after that, then it goes on, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
All right, so I will give you a scenario, right? I have a buddy right now who is going through a situation with a client who had an incident, right? Mm-hmm. He's in the room, but he is not right next to the client.
Right.
Client does something that puts themselves in legal jeopardy, right? He assaults somebody, all right? You eventually intervene when you can get to that point and you have conflict resolution going, right? Now, the police are involved. How do you proceed?
I would separate the principal from the aggressor, if you will. If at all possible, especially if you got help, separate him, if at all possible, without having to engage, and then be ready to either exfil him, or if the police require a statement, send his legal team or someone over there to handle that.
All right. Now, I'm going to add a little trinket into it. It is a domestic situation.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Okay, well, so now you're with the client.
Yeah, that's a whole nother ballgame.
And it turns into a domestic situation. Mm-hmm. Now, by the time you respond to it, the physical aspect is over. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have nothing to do with that, right? But now you have to deal with the client. You have to deal with their spouse or partner, whatever situation is. And then you also have to worry about yourself. Because now you're inside of an incident that requires law enforcement.
Yep.
Okay,
the law statements.
The law has been broken, and any action you do is a part of that actual incident report,
right, to
cover your own self, right? So how, as an EP agent, especially as a professional,
right,
how do you handle that? Now, you are big in the movement of protecting women, so I'm sure you have your own opinion, and I think it's important to hear your opinion because us as men, we naturally think a certain way. So you would actually give us a better perspective from the actual victim as well as an EP, as well as being a woman. So you cover the trifecta. So please, I'm listening to you on this one first.
Well, I think once you've gotten past that physical aspect, I think coordinating with their PR team, their people that are their handlers, they should have things that are set in play for that. So following those protocols, and then making sure there's multiple witnesses in the room. Whether you're a female agent or a male agent, you want to make sure that you have somebody else that can hold your story accountable for whatever transpires after the physical aspect, because it's obviously a situation where it's going to be one side versus another side. So you want to make sure that you have a collaborated effort, make sure that the room is handled, everybody's good. There's no physical aspect. She's, being comforted emotionally with somebody here, their PR person's working to handle it. Their handlers, coordinating with law enforcement. That's not a job that I should be doing as an EP agent, is communicating with law enforcement or getting into their internal affairs. I'm just here to make sure that the situation is flowing smoothly as possible and that everybody in the situation is protected.
Okay.
I got something to add on that one.
Now, Mike, you mentioned getting the client separate from whatever situation they were in and then moving them. Right?
Yeah.
So now we're dealing with police after the fact, right? They're reaching out to you. You've gone home. You've separated. You've made sure two different parties are no longer in the same location. You go home,
You get a call.
you get the call from the detective,
Yeah.
the agent on the case. How do you proceed?
I'd proceed with letting that PR team know that, or the management know that I have in fact been contacted by law enforcement. Then I retain my own counsel.
Now,
Before I proceed with that, I'm getting my own counsel.
Now, unfortunately, not
My
all
lawyer.
clients have PR teams,
Right.
so we're going to put that out there.
Sure.
Reaching out to the PR team is the proper step, but you also do have to protect yourself. So I gave advice in this situation to let his or her attorney do the speaking. So, like,
Right.
I'm going to call my lawyer,
Right.
say, hey, this is the detective that reached out to me. I've already told you my side of what I've witnessed. I'm going to let you handle it from here.
Right. I think that's great.
Yeah.
One of the problems with domestics that I've seen as a sheriff's deputy is that they'll boomerang on you, right? And even in security, I was working a venue in Texas right when I got started, because I got started in armed security in Texas, right?
Shout out to Dallas.
Do you remember back in the days how they would put the ATM in the middle of the parking lot in the mall?
Yeah.
Right? And you drive up to it. So we're at the front door, me and my man Clark, Peace to Farrell Clark, and about 100 yards away is the ATM, right? See a car pull up, we hear a woman scream, right? So we run up. The back door is open, and we caught this dude mid-swing, right? Guns just came out. Like, bro, get off of her, on the ground, blah, blah, blah. Went through all the proper procedures, cuffed him up, called KPD to come. And when the police came, she immediately started saying, he didn't hit me. These two just ran up on us, right? And so they ended up letting him off the hook. They left. And then the sergeant afterwards was like, yeah, we see this all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I've not former law enforcement, that's obvious, but I have family and friends and colleagues.
Yeah.
And you even see it on the shows, cops. Like,
yeah.
the domestic
100%.
calls are the worst ones
They're
because
very dangerous.
You're stepping in off of what you feel is right from wrong, but then you can't separate that power dynamic with the couple.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because once you leave from that call or that moment in time,
Yeah.
they're still dealing with each other. So they're going to protect themselves against you guys.
I've worked booking where we would have a DV case come in, right? Process some fingerprints, throw them in the holding cell, and the wife shows up. What's his bail? I'm like, oh man.
Well, I mean, it's their choice.
Yeah. No,
they
I
don't.
get
People
it.
don't always make
Yeah.
the right choices.
No, from an EP perspective, involving the legal team as soon as possible would be my best bet forward.
Yeah. It's
A lot of them travel with their lawyers too. We're on a client now. His lawyer's around all the time. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's always a lawyer around.
Yeah.
I would say the unfortunate part is once the media gets involved, right? You may have done what you were supposed to do,
Right. Oh, now you're getting roasted online.
but you're getting
Yeah.
crushed online.
100%. Yeah.
You're getting accused of being okay with certain things,
Yeah.
and that's not fair to the agent, and that's not fair to the victim either.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Because you don't want to start talking about things you don't have the facts on.
Right. Yeah.
You weren't in the room.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's no game film to review to be like, hey, see, this is where you went wrong, this is
Yeah,
where you
don't
went
be
right.
the dude on TMZ. You know what I mean?
And Kendra, why are you so quiet?
I
saw the
mean,
whole
because
thing.
I'm just processing and I'm listening.
This is wild because you see her on the range. She is not quiet.
But
Yeah,
so
I got bullied, but it's
what,
okay.
You did though, but you bullied me back. Anyway, so I'm thinking, and as you guys are talking, like, okay, yeah, all that aside, domestic violence issues, men lie, women lie. The point of that question was conflict resolution. Our job is to limit liability and make sure everybody's safe. So ultimately,
brand
no, it's not our
protection.
fucking business.
Yeah.
We're not lawyers. We're not cops. We're not any of that stuff. So what we do is we limit liability and we make sure everybody's safe. But if I see the situation, right, because as an EP agent, I have my own moral code as far as who I will guard, what I will tolerate, and what I will allow to happen in my presence. Recently, I had to tell somebody, if this situation that's occurring goes left, that person's going overboard and I will have to no longer work for you. And that's just where we stand. It is what it is.
As it should be.
Because the person thought because they had a big bank account that entitled them to treat women in any way that they wanted.
I mean, we see that a lot, unfortunately.
Literally overboard.
Literally, he was this close.
I seen it.
Close. Okay?
Oh, you gonna throw somebody off the boat?
I was gonna throw him right off the board, right off the side of the boat.
There's a lot of sharks in the Biscayne anchorage. I'm just saying.
Hey, man.
Matters to me.
Yeah,
not.
but no, I saw it and I was
far.
like, I'll let her handle that, and she did. I was like,
And I totally understand it because I've worked for clientele, and I still currently do, that is constantly in the tabloids, always on the blogs for something, something they say, something they do. And that is a part of my mindset. Like, okay, how long can I stand next to this person before my moral compass says, yo, okay,
Yes.
they're
Right.
taking it too far.
Right.
Now, even though we both, I mean, all three of us, I'm
Yeah.
saying both, I'm saying y'all too.
Yeah.
My math is off. I passed in class. I'm sorry. Look, even though we know that a lot of times these entertainers are doing it when the cameras turn on. And once the cameras turn off, they're a whole different person.
100%.
And you know that, right? But your kid's friends at school
Yeah.
who see you standing next to that person,
Yeah.
they don't know that.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm a guy and the person's doing something towards a woman,
Yeah.
you know, how do I
See
handle
it, though.
it?
That's what I'm
to
saying.
see-
Like, you need to think about it before you accept certain contracts.
Yeah.
You need to think, am I going to limit liability in this situation? No, because this person is, outside of what I'm okay with, and I know that my conflict won't have a resolution. It's going to
and then
escalate.
The worst part,
So you got to be mature and not take that job.
the worst part is I've been in predicaments where I'm like, ooh, he was a little harsh. Ooh, that was a little strong, but
Yeah.
he's a little drunk, so that's why he's like that. And
Right.
Like, you know the reasons why their behavior is occurring, but at the same time, the people in the room are looking at you like, are you going to intervene,
Yeah.
do something about this? Like, yo,
100%.
he's tripping. Like, the worst thing that could ever happen for me as an EP is you're in an environment where there's alcohol, ladies, and men. And as a man, I'm proud to be a man, but at the same time, I understand you can't trust certain dudes when they dick is hard or when they're thirsty. Their brains don't function properly. And they're putting themselves in predicaments to the point that the young ladies are coming up to you saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable, or hey, he's tripping, or hey, look, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is
Right.
going on. I'm not saying it's this, but
Yeah.
it's that is a horrible feeling. And that is a part of conflict resolution. Like, how do you maintain your character
Right.
and your professionalism?
You set your boundaries.
But also, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Moving forward. But unfortunately, we have guys, and I got this comment. I got this comment from somebody, and they were like, look, you should bring up these Secret Service guys, these EPs, or with these corporate high-end clients
Yep.
who were, i.e., being around this Epstein Island type
Oh, yeah, 100%.
environment. And they didn't say a word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They were one of the many that was around seeing what was going on, and you're supposed to be this tough alpha protector.
Right.
And yes, you get paid to protect that client, but at the same time, like, where's your moral compass?
Yeah, I was
Like,
about to say, I mean, for the amount of, and I don't get into politics and stuff like that, but from what is being presented on the media, there was obviously a large number of figures. You got to assume that all of them have at least one body guy in some shape, form, or fashion, unless they're leaving them at the FBO. But I doubt that. So you got a lot of people who kept their mouth shut. That's wild.
Yeah, and what I would say to the EP community, for the guys who don't know, a lot of times when you get with these high network individuals, they may not like a guy who is an EP that's walking next to them all day, every day,
Yep.
but the driver is usually the bodyguard.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, if you're in the car driving and you hear it, you just hearing it, like,
Yeah.
what you got going on? Like, and a lot of us EP guys, we have daughters.
I got
You know
two.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
I got two and a grand.
So how are you gonna?
Oh, we are a daughter.
How are you gonna? Yeah. Or you were raised by a woman
Yeah.
of some sort. Like where is that moral compass where you step in? So yeah, that was brought to the table, and I was like, you know what? That is very very true.
That's a great topic.
At some point, the dollar amount of what you're getting paid shouldn't intervene with humanity,
100%.
empathy, or just common decency. Like,
Yeah.
you're a protector, but you're watching somebody be victimized,
Right.
male or woman.
Right.
Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, we, this is another subject that was brought up to me. Shout out to Toronto.
Peace to Chris UES out in Toronto.
Yeah, male groupies. Right? So, like, there's male groupies all over the industry. Like, the male groupies are worse than the girls. We'll be very frank.
Yeah.
But I've been in situations where I see the male groupie getting victimized, whether it be physical or verbal. Right?
Yeah.
Now, we're supposed to protect the client.
Right.
I've been in enough BS that I know once you take a man's dignity, you cannot be surprised at how he responds, right? So, like, you could be talking crazy and making this person look crazy to the point that they want to do something to you.
Yeah.
And they know where you're going to be.
Yeah.
They know who your security team is.
You just blew them up in front of their whole
Yeah.
crew.
And usually, when
I know you're
something
not going to
happens,
let them talk to
it's
you
an
like
inside
that.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that is another part of the conflict resolution. You know, how do you deal with the male groupies and their ego, as well as with your client's ego, because you know how your client is. If you're a male or female, you've had enough interactions to know how men and respect is important, right? So, like, you're standing there and you're watching all these different energies transpire, and you're like, damn, now I got to watch you because he just tried you.
Yep.
And
I deal with that a lot less.
Yeah.
You know, I have a more gentle approach just because I'm a woman, and then I say things a little firm, and they're like, all right, she's a woman, but she said something strict, so all right, maybe I'll listen, you know?
It's the mom in you. You can't help it.
Yeah, you got to listen to mom.
Now, to pivot on to our next subject, something I think is not discussed enough, and I think a lot of times it's because we gatekeep this information. There's being in the business of EP or bodyguarding or executive protection, whatever you want to call it, but then there's also the business of EP.
Right.
So we always talk about the X's and O's. Okay, you're going to shoot this target. You're going to do this many push-ups. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stay this distance from the client.
Yeah.
Follow the box. But we don't talk about business.
Yeah.
Business protocol, business ethics. A younger guy I just came across a few months ago. I've been putting him in little EP gigs here and there. But the way I develop guys is different than how most guys do it. A lot of guys do it that old school. I'm just going to throw you in there, foot to the fire, and we're going to mold you that way.
Yeah.
And
set them up for failure.
Yeah. And for me, that is one of the worst things you can do.
100%.
And not just for that person, but for yourself, because
and your company, your brand,
your reputation and your brand.
Well, who's this guy?
Goes with that person, right? So I paid more attention to it after I went to the Icon training with Elijah. I noticed. Well,
Peace to Elijah.
Yeah. Shout out to
Mark Ventrell.
Yeah.
Sam.
Shout out to J. Cole.
Peace to the whole Icon family.
I appreciate being on that tour. But seriously though, he does not operate with anybody who doesn't go through his training.
Right.
Like-mindedness.
Right? And I had been in the business for years, and it had never dawned on me to only work with people that I've trained with.
100%.
You get what I'm saying? Because
that's what we do. We don't.
Because I know in Miami, not a lot of guys train.
No.
You know, they have experience. You know what I'm saying? I know some great EP guys who've never been to a training, but they've gone through the mud enough to know X's and O's and things like that. So that was how I was judging individuals when I link up with them. Like, okay, I know you used to work here. I know what time that is. Yada yada yada. Yeah. Or somebody vouches for you. So I wasn't burned too many times. Of course, you're gonna get burned.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a flame hot enough for me to change my mindset with it, right? But after meeting with Elijah, he made that comment, and I was like, okay, bet. So I got this new kid, great frame, like good look. I'm like, damn, like even if you suck, your look alone,
you're gonna get work.
You're gonna get work. We could do some things with it, right? Go to the kid's page. He's a fucking bodybuilder. Like it's nothing about EP. So I start, saying things in his ear, but I play the long game.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just bless somebody with a life-changing opportunity and they're not worth it, right?
They won't be able to handle it.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
So I've helped him, but I've sprinkled, right? But I've introduced him to other EP guys, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do it like I did Chip. Like Chip, I kept a secret. I hid that motherfucker
Peace
for 2 years.
Chip. He's an offshore guy. Solid dude.
Yeah, Chip is great. Like he is doing wonderful things.
He is.
Once he did his episode with the podcast, I had told him before. I was like, look, once you go on this podcast,
Yeah.
you're gonna be gone.
He's solid. He's been to like 3 of my courses.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's in Africa right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
been there for months.
He's solid. Yeah, he's
Okay.
out there with the boys.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like he's out there, the network works, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That is a success story because he put in the work doing what he was supposed to do and he was hungry, right? So
Yeah.
you got you know, that's why I sprinkle. I want to make sure you're trying to do something with
Yeah.
this. Unfortunately, other guys don't have that process, so they've been throwing him into the fire. Right? Now this is going back to the business of EP.
Yeah.
He goes on the detail, client says, "Hey, what's your cash app?" The guy's like, "No, pay such and such because somebody else brought him in on a job." He's like, "No, but you're here now. What's your cash app?"
Mm-hmm.
He gives the guy's cash app. He receives the pay. Okay. Now, obviously, the pay amount that he got is not what
yeah.
he was told he was going to get paid. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was more.
Yep.
He reaches out to me. He's like, "Hey, you know, that guy, you know, he kind of blackballed me, gave me the cold shoulder. Like, how do I proceed? You know, plus he owes me such and such." I'm like, "All right, well, let's first off do the math. What was he telling you were going to get paid?"
Yeah.
I said, "Well, now he only owes you this much because you got to take it out of what you took." You get what I'm saying? That's the first part.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk first part, it's going to be the money. Now, second of all, why the fuck did you take the payment? He's like, "Well," I was like, "Listen, no matter what, if somebody didn't put you on the job
Yep.
and they didn't tell you, hey, they're going to pay you direct,
Direct. Yeah.
then you don't touch the money and you don't talk numbers.
Yep. That's not your job.
That is not what you're coming in for."
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
Happens all the time.
he's new.
Yeah,
So
he
can
doesn't
I
know
be,
any better.
So can I be mad at him? No. Can I be disappointed? Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I know now he knows. But at the same time, I'm just like, how do we find situations to teach these guys this stuff? Like, how do you pull these guys to the side?
Right.
Because now I'm blaming my friend who is a more experienced agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, why didn't you give him that game before you sent him out?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, whose fault really is it? Is it the experienced guy for not giving the knowledge and teaching? Okay, this is how business is run.
Right. Right.
Because you're assuming that it's common sense. Not everybody
Yeah.
runs a business. Not everybody that we work with wants to be a business owner.
No.
Not everybody we work with wants to be responsible for invoices
Right.
and insurance and all these things.
Well,
Most
that's-
guys are running around without insurance.
Yeah.
They just have an LLC. Congratulations, you played yourself. You need insurance. You need workers' comp.
Yep.
You need all these things to consider yourself a real business. So what would you want to give people information on? Like, okay, I'm not going to give you everything, but I can give you this. Like, how would you tell somebody this is how you find out the business of EP?
No, that one's you first.
Slow and steady.
Unfortunately-
and steady,
Unfortunately,
no.
people don't like to take the time.
You know, unfortunately, though, it is one of those things that, you know, just like you said, you cannot walk into this and expect to understand the business aspects of it. Like you said, the insurance, the legal aspects of it. You know, how many guys have hit you up and said, "Well, I got a CCW in blah 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 states." Man, that don't mean nothing.
And
Like, you know what I'm saying? But
that CCW shit kills me.
Kills me.
right. But if you look at, you know, I tell my students, guys don't know what they don't know. So if no one's told an individual otherwise that, hey, bro, your CCW does not afford you, you know, the legal leeway that you need to protect your client out of state, outside of your license, but people seem to think that's a thing. So, you know, education. Here is the payout. You know, keep your agents educated. Kendra will tell you when we do a detail, here's the rate. Here's when we're going to get paid out. I will disperse funds. You know what I mean? And set that tone, you know, initially, and then try to stick to it the best as possible. Get your guys paid. Let them know that you'll handle the money stuff on your end. It's not their job to go talk to the client, right? And it'll happen. You know the deal. The client, oh, he's cool. Oh, no. No, he's not.
Such and such fucks with me. He likes me.
Yeah. No, he's cool. No, he said it. No, he said you knew about it. It's fine. It's like, no, bro.
If you're not sure, double check, triple check, quadruple check.
100%, man. 100%.
So from my aspect, I don't have a security company. I definitely know about the importance of insurance and all that because my self-defense company, if somebody hurts themselves, I'm definitely liable for that.
Yep.
So, I mean, it translates over into no matter if you're an independent contractor, security owner, or a business owner, you need to make sure that your stuff is straight and set up and correct because sometimes we'll get jobs, we'll get calls, and it's like it'll have one name initially, another name on the shirts, and another name on the patch, and you're like, well, who the hell am I working for?
Yeah, especially when you do festivals.
Because it breaks down so much. But as an agent, you should know, especially if you're armed, because that's you. That's on you. That's your ass. If they're not covered, then guess who's not covered? You're not covered.
Yep.
So you need to take that responsibility on yourself, no matter what position you're playing, to make sure your business is straight.
Now, although
Regardless.
you may not own a business, if you're watching this and you don't own a business, you still need to understand how business works. And I'm going to say this for two reasons. And I'm going to come back to what Kendra was talking about. But before I forget, what I will say is, damn, I forgot already.
Oh, damn.
Understand your pay cycles. Understand the difference
There,
between
thank you. See,
Tracking, he's
between a net 14, net 30, net
net
45.
30.
So, like, listen, guys, when you go on these details,
You'll be
especially-
hyped up.
especially if it's a big detail. If you have the opportunity to work with a big group of guys, understand that the client more than likely is planning on paying that invoice 30 days from the day that the invoice is sent, not the day that you finish the job, the day that the invoice is sent, right?
Which is
So
the last day.
if you're working with somebody, if your buddy calls you and says, hey man, jump on this team with me, and you're asking what's to pay, but you don't know who's paying, you don't know when they're paying, that's on you. That's just bad
A
business.
30-day job, and it's net 30, you don't get paid till 60 days later.
Yeah, that can happen. Especially if you go on these big contracts where they're like, yeah, brother, we're going to give you $600 a day, 3 meals in a cot. We're going to have you staying at this hotel, blah, 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 blah. And you're running rounds with, you see 10 other agents doing different shifts. Brother, listen.
And I'll say this too, because I see this a lot, moving clients in Miami. Come to work with a couple bucks in your pocket because you might have to move a Vic. Your client may move.
Valet.
Now you're taking care of valet because the client's going to keep walking.
Yes.
The client's going to
Yes.
keep walking. Granted, save all your receipts, give them to whoever the project manager for that project is at the end, and hopefully you'll get reimbursed.
And understand, like, if you're going to use cash, try to keep it the smallest amount possible. Once you get to $100 plus, it needs to be swiped. Reason being, you are okay with losing less than $100. But if you gave out $500, $200, $300 in cash one day,
You need to
and
keep
then you
those
did it,
receipts.
you did it 2 days later, and there's no receipt, and you try to invoice for it, and the clients were like, I need receipts, and you're like, well, I didn't get receipts, it's cash.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they're gonna
Yeah.
pay you for that.
And same thing with, like, just save all your receipts, man. Ubers, everything.
Yes.
I screenshot the shit out of everything.
And-
There
There
you
Like
go.
that. Whatever I tip valet, I write it on the parking receipt.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Screenshot
also
that.
I've been doing a lot of international work, and a buddy of mine, Mike, can probably speak to stuff like this more than I do. But I sent in an invoice, and the invoice was in USD. Now some
So how's the exchange rate?
some of the things that I was asking to be paid back for, the receipts were in the other currency.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
So
I learned that
to-
recently
to-
in January.
So to be assholes, the accountant's like, hey, well, look, I need the receipts in this currency. Well, guess what? Uber does not translate back to your currency.
No, I had to do a whole bunch of
Yeah.
conversions.
Yeah.
So
The
either
whole time.
they can be nice enough to do the currency exchange rate for you,
Yeah.
or you're just screwed. Because if they choose not to do it, then you just lost that money.
You
Luckily,
just ate that Uber, bro.
yeah, luckily, they converted it for me. But here's the unfortunate part, right? Let's say the dollar was too strong on the day that they did it. Now I'm still losing money.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. So for the guys who do international travel and they're swiping their cards, please keep that in mind. There is rules about the machine will ask you, do you want it in US dollar or foreign currency? You're supposed to press the foreign currency. Don't press the US.
I
Also,
learned about that
when
a
you
lot.
swipe your card, your bank may charge you a conversion rate of $4 or $5. So you have to keep stuff like that in mind.
Yeah.
So Kendra, like I said, you may not have a business, but you still need to know business.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
your expectation level and your boundaries, like you mentioned before, they have to come from somewhere. Not just your moral compass or what you learned growing up as a kid. You have to understand business.
Yeah, y'all can keep that security business stuff. I never had a desire to own a company.
And like I said, most people don't want that responsibility.
We consult. We're not even a security company. We get retained by security companies.
Exactly,
100%.
And that's most of the time. You can have a agency and supply 100 dudes, and you're still reporting to a higher
100%.
umbrella.
Yep.
So when I say understanding the business, another business part that you guys need to understand,
how to subcontract correctly.
when you collaborate with people, you know, whose license and insurance are you
working under? Yep.
For the agency, right?
Yep.
Because if the state regulation walks around and pulls you to the side saying, "Hey,
you don't know,"
and you don't have the right answers,
I'm just working for this guy. It's cool.
or you don't have the right licensing. I've traveled and worked festivals and put on somebody else's bright ass vest and just be running around like, bro, I'm just doing my buddy a deal. But I don't know my buddy's information in regards to his LLC.
Right.
Or his
their
agency
license number? Yeah.
Or I'm not walking around with my accreditation visible because some states require that.
Yeah, you have to have it.
And then not only do they require the visibility of your information, but the agency
company
that you're working for. You know, these things will get you jammed up.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, during COVID, I worked one of the sky rises down in South Beach. And, you know, there's that line that separates the condominium and the actual South Beach property. And we had an issue with a drunk guy that was kind of sitting right there on that curb. And I was armed, and there's not many armed guards on South Beach. But since it was the private condominium, they allowed for that. So the boss calls me down. It's the middle of the night. The guy's just sitting there drinking. And, you know, it was the condominium manager. So he has no clue anything security related. Very short, leprechaun-looking dude. So he's so out of shape. Very, like, I break out when I get anxiety. Like, he was a very frantic person. This guy wasn't doing anything, but he goes down there, and he starts with the guy. He starts arguing with the guy, and the guy's drunk. He probably got off of work and was just sitting on the corner right before he wanted to ride his bicycle home, and he's escalating the situation now. And then I'm coming up late trying to figure out what's going on. And he's like, well, just throw him off the property. And I'm, okay, well, you know, what did he do? I'm trying to get informed because I know I at all costs, I need to protect myself. So then he starts cussing at this guy. So now this guy grabs his bike lock. And I have a video of this because I started recording. And he sees me, he sees my gun, he feels threatened, he starts cursing. He's belligerently drunk at this point. He's taking his bike lock and he's swinging it at me. Like... And this guy's back here screaming, shoot him. Just shoot him. I'm like, well, hold on. Like, wait a second. And like, this is the little curve line of where the guy is. He's not on our property line anymore.
Yeah.
So now you're encouraging me to shoot him out on South Beach property, on Miami-Dade County property line. Like, will you cover me for that?
No.
No? So you know what I did? I walked away.
Yeah, I mean...
The guy saw, like, he was kind of flinging it at me because I was the one with the gun, but he saw that this situation wasn't something I wanted to be involved in, and he realized if he moved over more, I was going to leave him alone. So he moved over more, got on his little bike, and took off. And I looked at the guy, I said, well, if I would have shot him over here, then what? And he was just kind of like, ugh.
So you're a mindful agent. Like, you go above and beyond. And unfortunately, we have guys who, you know, they're just motivated by the check. So they're just going to give the effort based off what they feel the worth was based off that check. You have to know the laws in your area. Once I had an opportunity when it comes to my dealings with clients and their budgets, I was able to finesse it where, okay, yeah, I know you want security. I know your budget is not what it requires to have security like me traveling with you X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But if we can do it where you're paying me and then I can actually hire a local asset.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
That'll
It's
be
more
cheaper because you're not
advantageous.
paying for the travel. You're not paying for the hotel stay. You're just paying for that agent's day rate being in their own hometown.
And you also have their expertise because they
And
should know.
their
And
licenses.
that's the main
And
point.
they're licensed.
And that's my pitch to the client. I'm like, listen, let's use a local asset.
Yep.
Because when we go to these foreign countries, they're always going to ask for a local asset.
course.
So why
Yeah.
not do it domestically?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because every state is like a different entity.
Yeah.
I don't know the laws for every state, and I can't keep up with every state. Half the
Or
time,
keep up with the renewals of the licenses of each
not
one.
just that. What about when I'm on the tour bus and we make a pit stop?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I'm at. If you've ever been on tour, when you roll out that bunk, if you can fit in it, for me it's the couch or, you know, that front seat. You don't know where you are half the time. So God forbid something happens at the gas station
Yeah.
or at the little diner that you stop in because you don't have any choices. That's why I use a local asset as much as possible, because they know their information. And if they don't know, at least their licenses can take the hit.
Yeah.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That providing vendor, they should have insurance, and yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
And I'm not saying that every time you do a deal with another agent, you have to put them under contract. But if you can have paperwork on your guys,
Yeah.
you have a nice little rotation of people that you constantly use, and you just have them on file.
Yeah.
Somebody in your back office every year can just check and see if it's renewed.
Yeah.
It's a 2-second process going online.
Yeah.
And then going on about your day. But my suggestion to the newer people, if you aren't with the big client that can pay you to travel, be the person in your city and in your environment. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're one of these guys who comes from the club, then you should know every club.
Yeah.
You should have a connect at every club.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm
guys, GMs, managers.
Exactly. You should know all the hot
Bottle
restaurants.
girls,
Yep.
bartenders.
Exactly. You should know all the fine chicks. If your client's having a party, you may not be able to show your value by standing at the door watching stuff, but if you can get 10 baddies to show up to his party and you know what I mean, that knows how to operate in that environment, you're an asset. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like your Rolodex.
Even you know all the routes
Rolodex,
around the city. You know those shortcuts and back
Exactly.
roads to get that motorcade around that traffic.
Especially we get jammed up in traffic all the time.
all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Art Basel.
I've had clients who've had drivers that travel everywhere with us, but one thing I liked about that driver when we had our convoy, everybody else was local, and he was never the lead.
Right.
So that
You
we
should
could
just be the one driving.
exactly.
The client. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly. So if you're trying to break into the game, that is your best and fastest way to get put on with consistent work. Being the number one agent in your city.
100%.
And when I say number one, there's no way to scale your talent level compared to everybody else.
Right.
But when I say number one, that means people gonna know your name. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You don't have to have a nickname and all these trillions for. Nobody knows my full name. I mean, like they don't say it out loud. Yeah. They say one letter.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that is good enough here where people are like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I worked the club scene.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I worked the brothel scene, booby trap scene type shit. I've worked the trap hood clubs like the Rolex, aka Climax. But I've also worked the nice clubs on the beach.
I was about to say, turning the questions back to the host. Can you speak on? Because I tell my students this all the time. Can you speak on the value in that? Because I got my private security license while I was in the military working off post on the weekends. Mm-hmm. Doors, static, doorman. But that's where you build your skills, I feel.
Yeah, especially your people skills.
Yeah, 100%.
Or your conflict resolution.
Yes.
From being, bro, I'll tell you, working the door of these ratchet clubs in Central Texas, by the time I was a sheriff's deputy in processing arrestees, it was easy.
Because you knew everybody.
Bro, what happened? No, just know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Dude comes in, bro, what is it? Oh, man, look, let me get you through this paperwork. You know what I mean? Same thing I do. Bro, they kicked you out, man. I'll tell you what. Come back next week. I'll buy you a bit myself.
Yeah, a buddy of mine who does EP, he's also officer, Big John, right? So Big John is probably one of the few Caucasian agents that works predominantly hip-hop, urban details, and things like that, right? So I've known John for years, worked with him. I trust him with my life. We've been around environments where things can go left, and I don't worry about when I look at John. You get what I'm saying? His whiteness in that black environment does not make me nervous, right? He's just a cool guy, right? Mm-hmm. I eventually made it back to where John works and is from Alabama, right? And I have a client who he just likes going to hood shit.
Yeah.
So we probably go to one of the most dangerous places I've been in my life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about there's armed security everywhere outside.
Yeah.
These niggas is
Yeah.
they in there in the club like
wow,
that.
in the club.
Inside the club.
Yeah.
And the girls dancing and entertaining look like niggas, right? You know what I mean?
Like they got a strap in their back.
Man,
too.
listen, I'm worried about them too. I'm like, she might got it on her, right? Everything is just sketchy about this environment.
Yeah.
We're definitely looking like outsiders. I got these celebrities.
Yeah.
Before the client even got there, I had to calm the situation down because this street dude don't want to move his section for no You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it turned into all that. So I'm like, oh, we are in a hellhole. And I swear to God, I'm standing there trying to have my tough look on because I can't grow a fucking beard. Okay?
all
Fuck
right, man.
y'all. So I'm trying to look tough. I got this big ass baby face.
Yeah.
And I'm in this bullshit. I'm like, damn, I
clothes.
thought I left this shit. Like, I'm like, man, this was years behind. I ain't been in some
I
shit
always
like this
say
in a
that.
hot minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool when I'm from here. Like, if it's
it's your
Miami,
city.
I know, you know what I mean? But
You're
I'm
in a different town.
I'm in fucking Alabama, right? And this dude walks up, he's like, yo, your name X, right? I'm like, oh shit, did I punch this nigga in the face before? Right?
I saw that video. Though. That was a good video.
So fucking, he's like, man, I seen you on my boy's page. I said, who? He says, John. I said, get the fuck out of
shit, I
here.
already know him, yeah.
What? John's from this shit? I said, no wonder why he be so cool. You get what I'm saying?
He gets the barbecue bags.
and it resonates with what you're talking about. Like, it teaches you
Yeah. 100%.
how to be in, like, John's from some ratchet shit. Like, I said, oh, John is real. Yeah. Shout out to
All the
John.
time, man. It's like, you know, when we do festivals and I project manage, we get a lot of D-licensed type guys, you know, and they'll be like, oh, you're Mike from offshore, so I'm training and stuff. I'm like, how do I get in that? And I'm like, don't rush the process. I was like, put some money away, get you your G license, take a class. Doesn't have to be my class. Put some work in. Get up to supervisor. You get supervisor, now you're used to running a shift. Now put some money away. Go take an EP class if that's what you'd like to get into. Now you are showing up to the door with a little bit more knowledge on how to deal with people rather than just jumping in head first. You know what I'm saying?
Especially financially, because
Yeah.
what they don't tell you is work gets slow sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
You get what I'm saying? So you have to learn how to budget your lifestyle off of bare minimum, because there might be a day where you are at bare minimum.
Yeah.
I've
It's slow
had
seasons.
I've had some broke events early on doing this, because you know, you have your life that you live and you got to pay for that, and then you have the life that you live when you're on the road.
Yeah.
You got to pay for that. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be Uber Eatsing it up. You're going to be spending money on stupid shit all the time. Then if you have family, you want to bring stuff back for them. So you got to be able to pay that and still
Yeah.
try to save up a nest egg, so that when you got 2-3 weeks where you don't work
Yeah.
100%.
and there's no income, you can survive.
My assistant tells me that all the time.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. I ignore her very well.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, listen, just hit the ignore button. Speaking of assistants, women in the industry.
Whoa.
Women in the industry. I've been very vocal throughout my entire time behind this microphone how imperative it is to recognize the significance that women play in the industry, and not to be deterred by the alpha brand look of it, because we keep pushing this look that it's going to be the dude with the fucking outside plate and the green on and the khaki with some knee pads that are dirty, and he has a nice little long beard and his gray white peppercorn. That's what they're pushing, that look, right? You know what I mean? Or just some bald-headed dude who's really fierce looking, or somebody with a beard. Fuck y'all.
I think you just described both sides of the table right now.
Yeah. Well, no, not my look is weird. I don't nobody look like me.
I'm an old man, so no, I'm very unassuming.
Yeah, so they're pushing this look. And I try to tell people time and time again, when you go places, it's not going to be a dude telling you what to do.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a dude helping you with your advance, giving you the dot plan, making sure you understand all the information you need to do your job.
100%.
It's going to be a woman. So please tell me, how important is it for you when you're working to leave a lasting impression and networking with other individuals, so that they are more familiar with women in EP and what you guys bring to the table, and that there is no fall off if the agent is a girl or a guy standing at certain posts or in certain positions? Because you get bottlenecked with that too. I mean, it's going to happen as a guy as well, but for women it's way worse, because it's almost like you don't get the opportunity.
Okay, that question was a little too. Okay, so I'm noticing that there are a lot more women in this industry that are taking that management role, that are the ones, like you said, delegating all these things. I was just talking to this about somebody the other day, that I think it's
There
a
you
little harder for some of us having these women in these management roles that have never worked security a day in their life start doing these project management like things that don't understand the inner workings of it. So I think that new trend that's starting is a little difficult, and I wish there would be a little bit more training for the women that are putting these projects together. But as far as a woman in EP, how I leave a lasting impression is I just do my damn job.
See? Short and sweet. You gotta love
But
it.
it's effective, though. I mean, Kendra backs us up. You know, a company will hit me up and say, hey, I need X amount of agents on the team. I need 5. I know she's going to be one of them. Because having that extra set of eyes that's unassuming. And then when we do yacht stuff, that's all her. Seriously. The intoxication, there's only one head or bathroom. So there's a line. Having me or one of my big bearded guys, right, going up and trying to mitigate that, we've tried it. And it doesn't work. So that's all her. And, we've been successful.
One of my biggest reasonings is the whole crowd is not a guy.
No.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if there is a situation where there's a female involved and she needs to be detained
100%.
or handled in any way,
That's-
whether it be verbal or she's physically assaulted, the last person she wants to see is a man.
Yeah.
The same way a white guy feels more comfortable when he meets another white guy, or a black guy meets another black guy, women feel comfortable when they run into another woman. I see you. It's better that you have a female agent there. You know what I'm saying? God forbid it turns into a legal situation. You know what lawyers do?
Oh, 100%.
They're going to be like,
But
well,
I was just going to say that.
what-
Those are my two jobs.
And
Limit
I'll tell you-
liability, keep everybody
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
Coming
That's
from the law enforcement community, I was just on that because we're not, like, we call in. Like, even if we don't have any females on shift, if I get a female arrestee, she's going to stand right there until I get a female deputy and to search her, go hands-on, all that stuff. Unless it's completely exigent circumstances, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So we always think about that. But like, yo, they're fighting. Go on.
yeah.
That's how I started
Launch
in
the
the industry
Kendra.
because
Yeah.
Club Space they needed a second female for a Winter Music Conference
I don't-
because of all of the
I don't break up
issues.
girl fights. I mace. Mace and tase is all you're going to get from me. Something we all know is extremely important in this business, and I think a lot of guys are not looking at it from the right lens, but drivers. I've done a multitude of episodes talking about drivers. I'm going to continue to do so. Drivers are essential, obviously. But a lot of drivers that we run into are concierge drivers. They learn how to treat clients based off of comfort,
Right.
not
Security, yeah.
not with the security mindset. So we need to find a driving course that
VDI.
that teaches you tactical driving.
VDI.
But I'm referring to just the mindset of EP in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys
We could make that happen.
don't actually sit there and do driving.
Right.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to. My schedule's a little different now. But if I have a downtime, I call a buddy or two who has a car. So they're like, yo, let me know if you need someone to drive. I used to drive to Atlanta, Tallahassee, sitting in the Sprinter, and the artist in the body car. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, but I'm a driver today, brother. I'm not doing none of this. But I'd have it set up
Right.
with the mindset, okay, well, if I'm inside, I need the car to be right here.
Yep.
When they get out, the door needs to be on this side, plus the route is this way,
100%.
but that's blocked off, so I need to make it, that's what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the time to say, you know what, I would love doing this, but I can also make money doing this. I feel like drivers make more money than
Right.
anybody else.
I mean, that's a niche that doesn't go away. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to have work, especially here in Miami.
AI is not going to kill that, huh?
No. You know the deal. Any given Saturday night on South Beach, you could be from one light to the next, nothing but black SUVs. And you're just
What
like,
happens
yo.
when self-driving cars, our clients want to start ordering those?
They can order it for themselves, but when it
But
comes,
they want us to ride in the car with us?
no, when
Ride in
you
the car, like,
when you want me to protect you, that car is not going to tell itself, "Hey, they're shooting."
Right.
You
No,
get what I'm
it's gonna-
saying?
yeah.
It'll get
But
tipped
that's
over
something
like
that
one
we
of
would
those.
probably have to tell the client because they're going to think, oh, I could save money, you know,
you
because
know-
they don't think in a security mindset.
You know what? If that client is that foolish,
Well, they think in terms of saving money in AI. They don't think about security.
I
That's why
would hope they at least have a
Especially
staff.
in the tech sector, you never know. Some of the guys that we've worked with, I wouldn't put it past them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? very tech
we drove
forward.
behind one in California, and the one in front was malfunctioning, and we couldn't get around it because it didn't know whether it wanted to turn right or keep going straight.
You see, I would hate that, but that'd be a perfect reason to shoot up the car.
Yeah. But as far as drivers are concerned, I would say, the same thing as the protection community as a whole. If that's something you want to do, lean into training and education. Go to VDI, the best driving school in the country. You know what I mean? They train people all over the place. See if you can get into an open enrollment VTAC course, EVOT course, emergency vehicle operation course. We might be able to get something like that, because drivers have to be security minded, understand the mission plan, and not just be like, well, I'm just a driver.
Mm-hmm.
We would do after action reviews after big exercises in the military, and the younger guys are your drivers and stuff like that. You'd be like, well, what'd you think about the last operation? I don't know, I'm just a driver, right?
Yeah.
And you'll get the same thing in EP where it's like, hey, bro, okay, this is what we're going to do, and they're just chilling. It's like, no, you need to be integrated into the plan. Here's our direction to travel. Use whatever route you already have, but here is your secondary and tertiary. And clear communication. Hey, brother, you did a great job. The client's impressed. Do me a favor. We're going to go in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to need this thing turned around. And, you know me, we use our government shit, so strong side pickup, right? Meaning when that door to the building opens, the door to the truck opens to make it as seamless as possible. And if you could facilitate that for me, I'd appreciate it. You know what I mean?
And it covers,
they get
covers
hyped
you.
up. And they get hyped up to be part of the security team. Oh, I'm doing something. You know what I mean?
I think it's important if you're going to be in EP that you are well-rounded. Because when I started to switch from nightclub security to EP, I asked Mike, I took a year off. I traveled all over to take courses. I took room clearing courses with Tim Kennedy. I went all the way out to California to do classes with Solutions Group International.
Yep.
And they did they did a really good course that they combined with VDI on their course. So like we did, checking the cars. We did how you put your clients into the car, how you move with your clients. And then we did all of the moving and dynamic driving on the course, but they covered the security aspect. And then it's so close.
Don't be scared. Your feet gonna dangle.
They do. That's why I got it propped up here. So what I really took from that course was the way to speed drive, but still keep your client happy. So they told me, imagine your client sitting in the back seat with her cup of tea. Mm-hmm. And she says, I'm late. So now you need to get her there without her spilling her tea on you. Like that right there is important for your EP because you need to know how to take care of your client. Oh, well, I'm not a driver. Okay, so what if your driver gets down to use the restroom inside the restaurant and something falls on his head and now you're down a driver? So nobody else knows how to drive. Nobody else knows the route. Nobody else knows what's going on. You can't drive because you're stuck in that one role. Because it happens, right? Things happen to people. Then you're down a person.
The sad part is, like, as far-fetched as she just made that scenario.
No,
that was real.
far-fetched at
That
all.
really happened.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen, like, I promise you.
It's not far-fetched.
I wish you could play back my face when she was saying. I was looking up in her head. I was like, that is so realistic. But I know to somebody who's not in what we do, they're gonna be like, oh man, that sounds crazy. I'm like, no, motherfucker, that was Tuesday.
I look at
it was
driving as a skill, right? And you've came out and observed our training and stuff. I look at that as another hard skill, just like shooting, just like knowing stop the bleed, applying a tourniquet. If you're an EP agent, do you know how to threshold brake? Do you know how to do a J-turn? I do a mean J-turn.
Driver down.
Right, driver down drills. If, let's say, someone shoots up your artist's car, how are you going to get that driver or whoever's in that seat
out of the seat
moving?
And then keep it going?
Right.
Just ride on the middle part.
So driving is one of those skills, and I like to correlate it with shooting and throwing a punch, right? Everyone thinks they know how to do it until they've been taught. So it's another skill that should be explored just to round out your toolbox. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there's plenty of, all it takes is 5 minutes on Google for, security driving. Most of them aren't cheap. I'll say that.
No, they're not cheap. But it's a good investment because it'll get you on a detail faster than 100%. Being a bodyguard.
And it was a really fun course. Like, but for me, it was really important too because I was driving this SUV and the dude's your size and he's going fucking 60 miles an hour and all of a sudden just goes like this. So my little self has to jump out of my seat, jump onto the middle part, stick my foot all the way down there while moving him, and then stop the vehicle, then put that shit in reverse, looking out the back, driving him while he's still there. So like if this were to actually happen, you know, somebody else would have been like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not capable of it. I've actually drilled it. I've actually done it. I've actually encountered situations in real life that I'm like, oh, you know, it clicks. I'm like, okay, I need to move the car, or I need to do something like this. Like, unless you've practiced something that's in the realm, you know, you won't know what to do when the actual situation happens, or when something similar enough happens. Because you can say, oh, I didn't have to move the big fat guy to drive, but, you know, I had to move like this. I had to do something like this. So unless you practice it, you don't have anything to pick from.
Now, thank God she is small. Because
y'all would not have been on that.
Man, listen.
Hop up on that middle part.
Just push me out the car.
Down there.
Push me out the car, bro. Don't get in my lap. I don't want to feel your inner thigh touch my inner thigh. Yeah. I understand I may die, but I don't want this to be the last visit.
I saw dudes do it though, so I know it's possible.
I'm sure.
I don't think they were as tall as you though.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like
driver down drill. Kick over that driver's legs out of the way. So step over the console if you can. You're not touching the driver. You're putting your leg over.
Don't politically correct me, Mike.
He's right though. I was gonna do it.
What you can do too is that if you have more people in the Vic, you can have someone in the back seat, drop it, and pull them right out.
Mike, why are you giving all the training away, Mike?
That's what I do, man. What did you call me for?
Yeah, this
you know
is supposed. You said help.
It's like, this is me.
I didn't call. My assistant did.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't ask.
And you know, my assistant called about this too.
Yeah, all in one. Damn. It's almost like AI.
It is. I'm pretty sure it's AI.
So Kendra has a hard out, so I want to thank my panel today, Mike from Offshore Kinetics.
Thanks for having me.
Put his IG right here. Then we have Kendra from Avert. Okay, put it at the bottom. Okay, just remember, together, ape strong. Have a good day. Peace.